You know that moment when someone's arrogance is so overwhelming, it almost impresses you? Almost. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was floating in my backyard pool, beer in hand, soaking in the peace that comes only after a week of chaos at work. The sun was warm, the water was perfect, life was good. Then I heard it. The screech of expensive sneakers and a voice soaked in. Entitlement. Hey, old man. You need to get out now. I cracked one eye open to see a teenager standing at the edge of my pool, arms crossed, wearing a smug grin that said he'd never been told no. This is HOA property, he announced. My mom runs this neighborhood, so unless you want trouble, leave. If only this kid knew who he was talking to. Welcome to Maple Ridge. 6 months earlier, I'd moved into Maple Ridge Estates, one of those picture-perfect suburban neighborhoods where the lawns look cloned and the HOA rules are thicker than a Bible. I'd relocated here for work, it seemed. Quiet, safe, and stable. What I didn't realize was that I'd walked into a dictatorship with a white picket fence. 3 days after moving in, I met Linda Matthews, the HOA president. She appeared at my door with muffins and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Linda was the kind of woman who wore authority like jewelry, loud, expensive, and meant to intimidate. Her hair was salon perfect, her outfit screamed yoga royalty, and her tone dripped with control. Welcome to Maple Ridge, she said sweetly. Just making sure you received your community guidelines. Oh, I had. All 47 pages of them. I also noticed your moving truck blocked the Thompsons' driveway for 20 minutes, she added, smile still plastered on. We're very strict about parking. I'd hate for you to get fined your first week. That was my introduction to Linda, fake kindness wrapped around a threat. I told everyone I worked in public service. Technically true, but I left out that I was the county sheriff. I wanted a quiet life, not one where people acted differently around me. That decision would soon prove useful. The Prince of Entitlement, Linda's son, Tyler Matthews, was 17 and drove a silver BMW, his reward for a C+ average. His reputation was infamous. Loud music, reckless driving, zero respect. The first time I met him, it was 2 a.m., and his music was shaking my windows. When I asked him to turn it down, he smirked. Dude, chill. My mom runs this place. We can do whatever we want. He wasn't lying. Linda had turned the HOA into her personal kingdom. She fined people for nonsense. Mrs. Green got charged $200 for having unapproved garden gnomes. The Johnsons were fined $500 because their Honda was parked 3 inches over a line. And Tyler? He faced no consequences at all. For months, I watched Linda terrorize the community. Fake violations, threats, intimidation. People avoided her like she carried the plague. I stayed quiet, documenting everything. Photos, videos, conversations. I wasn't just a neighbor anymore. I was collecting evidence. The pool showdown. Then came that Saturday. Tyler stood at my pool, arms crossed, demanding I leave my own property. This is community land, he shouted. Mom showed me the map. I laughed. Son, I own this property. You're trespassing. His face turned red. You're lying. Your mom is wrong, I replied calmly. Now, please leave. Instead, he pulled out his phone. You're done. My mom's gonna destroy you. 5 minutes later, Linda stormed through my gate like a hurricane in Lululemon. What's going on here? She demanded. Your son is trespassing, I said. This area is HOA property, she snapped, waving her phone. Here's the map. It looked like it was made in Microsoft Paint. That's not a legal document, I said. It's an official HOA record, she barked. You're violating community property laws. Neighbors peeked from their windows. No one dared intervene. I'm calling an emergency HOA meeting Monday night, Linda declared. You'll face fines, and we'll vote to remove you from the neighborhood. They left laughing. I just smiled and glanced at my waterproof phone, still recording. When silence breaks. That evening, Mrs. Green knocked on my door, casserole in hand. She was trembling. I saw what happened, she whispered. That woman's been ruining lives here. She told me everything. How Linda fined her thousands over fake violations until she had to skip medication to pay. Over the next few days, more neighbors came forward. Tom and Sarah Johnson had their car keyed until they paid a fine. Mr. and Mrs. Chun had their lawn mower borrowed and broken by Tyler, then got fined for an unkempt lawn. Marcus Webb had his fence vandalized by Tyler's friends, then fined for the damage. Linda's reign wasn't just obnoxious, it was criminal. The breaking point. By Thursday, Tyler's harassment reached a peak. He dumped trash on my lawn, slashed my tires, and threw a full-blown party in my backyard while I was on duty. Beer bottles, vomit, broken furniture, and my grill shoved into the pool. That was the final straw. I filed official reports: trespassing, vandalism, harassment, property destruction, and I prepared for Monday's trial. Judgment Day. The community center was packed. Linda had painted me as a menace in her flyers. She stood at the podium, flawless in her designer suit, ready to perform. "This man," she began, "has violated our rules, harassed my family, and occupied HOA property. I recommend $15,000 in fines and his removal from Maple Ridge Estates." Gasps rippled through the room. Then she gave the floor to Tyler, who spun a tale of me threatening him at the pool. Finally, Linda turned to me. "Would you like to defend yourself?" "Yes," I said, standing with a calm smile. I pulled out my folder. "Here's my property deed, registered with the county. This pool and the land around it are private property." Then I displayed the official map from the county registrar. "Not HOA property. Never has been." Linda's smile faltered. "Those could be forged." "They're not," I said. "And these," I played the footage on the projector, "are from Friday night." The video showed Tyler and his friends trashing my yard, clear as day. Gasps filled the room. I continued, showing photos of the vandalism, phone logs, and witness statements. Then I turned to the crowd. "Mrs. Green, would you share what Linda did to you?" The elderly woman stood, voice shaking but strong. "She fined me thousands for fake violations. I couldn't afford my medication." The Johnsons, the Chens, Marcus, all spoke up. Linda screamed, "You're all lying." "Actually," I said, reaching into my pocket, "they're telling the truth." I held up my badge. "Sheriff Michael Reeves, County Law Enforcement." "And Linda, you're in serious trouble." The room exploded in shock. Linda went pale. Tyler dropped his phone. "I've been investigating you for 6 months," I continued. "You've falsified HOA records, issued fraudulent fines, and misused association funds. That's embezzlement, fraud, and abuse of power." Linda stammered, "You can't prove." "I can. I have your bank records, obtained legally with a warrant." I turned to the board. "Did you know she's been depositing HOA assessments into her personal account?" They looked horrified. I nodded to the deputies waiting outside. "Deputies, please escort Mrs. Matthews and her son." Tyler panicked and shoved me. "Big mistake." "Tyler Matthews," I said calmly, "you're under arrest for assault on a law enforcement officer, vandalism, and trespassing." Gasps filled the room as my deputies cuffed him and read his rights. Linda screamed threats, but no one listened. The board immediately voted her out, unanimously. Consequences. 3 weeks later, Tyler stood before a judge, stripped of his arrogance. "Mr. Matthews," the judge said, "these are not pranks. These are crimes." Tyler was sentenced to 200 hours of community service, 18 months of probation, and $12,000 restitution. Linda's downfall was even greater. A state investigation uncovered over $40,000 in embezzled HOA funds. 17 families joined a class action lawsuit against her. One of them, David Rodriguez, a civil rights attorney, handled the case pro bono. Within 2 months, the Matthews house was on the market. No open house, no smiles, just shame. When I saw Linda loading boxes into a truck, she avoided my gaze. For the first time, she was silent, restoring peace. Tyler began his community service by cleaning up Maple Ridge. He approached me one afternoon, holding a trash bag. "Sheriff Reeves, I'm sorry for everything." "Are you sorry you got caught?" I asked, "or sorry you did it?" He hesitated. "Both, but mostly the second one." "Then learn from it," I said. "Consequences aren't punishment, they're lessons." Over time, the neighborhood transformed. The new HOA board repealed Linda's ridiculous rules. Garden gnomes returned. Kids played freely. People smiled again. When we held the first community pool day, everyone showed up, laughing, sharing food, being neighbors again. Standing by my pool, beer in hand, I finally felt peace. The real lesson: power built on fear is an illusion. Bullies like Linda and Tyler thrive only when good people stay silent. The moment we speak up, their power collapses. You don't need a badge to stand up for what's right. You just need courage. Because when good people stop being afraid, justice always finds its way home.